One of the most common questions I get asked when I share a rectangle-shaped pattern is how many chains are needed to achieve a certain size. And guess what? It's a very simple formula to figure this out. First, you need to determine the size you want your finished project to be. And you can use whatever unit of measurement you prefer for this: inches, feet, meters, centimeters, whatever you like. Then simply subtract the width from the length. This is the length that you'll be using to make your starting chain. For example, let's say you want to make a throw blanket that's about 36 by 48 inches. You'll subtract 36 from 48, which is 12 inches. That's the length you want your starting chain to be. And again, you can use whatever form of measurement you like, whatever hook and yarn, and whatever stitch you like, because this is just determining the ratio between your sides. Then it's time to make your chain using the instructions in multiple given in your pattern. For example, last week I shared how to do the V-stitch as a continuous rectangle, and I decided I wanted it to be a baby blanket size of 30 by 36 inches. So using the formula, that's 36 minus 30, giving me 6 inches. So I started with a 6-inch chain using the multiple given in the pattern. Now, if you're wanting to take a square pattern and turn it into a rectangle, that's a little bit more tricky to do because there isn't a one-size-fits-all formula for this. But having said that, it's not really that hard either. So if that's something you'd like to learn more about, please let me know in the comments, because I do have a few tips that I think you'll find helpful. But in the meantime, if you're interested in learning how to do a continuous rectangle, keep on watching because I have a very simple pattern for you. This is a classic granny stitch rectangle using granny cluster stitches. And that just means that we're working 3 double crochets into the same stitch to form that cluster. If you've done a granny square before, then this will be very easy for you. But if I move through this too quickly, just let me know in the comments and I'll work on a more detailed video in the future. We're going to work with a multiple of 3 for this, adding a slip knot to my hook. I'm going to do this for a baby blanket size of 30 by 36. So 36 minus 30 is 6 inches. So I'm going to chain to 6 inches. And that's going to be about 24 chains. For this hook and yarn, I'm using a weight 4 cotton yarn with a 4mm hook. But this will vary depending on your yarn and hook. To create a rectangle, we're going to be creating 4 corners, but we also are making sides as well for our rectangle. We're going to do that at the beginning of the chain and at the very end. And then we're going to be working all the way around our chain to form our first round. We're going to be making granny cluster stitches. That's 3 double crochets into the same stitch, starting in the 3rd chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, add a double crochet. The turning chain here does serve as your first double crochet, so we have 2 so far. We need to make 1 more into the same chain. Now this is our first corner side, so we're going to do half of it right now. So chain 2 and add 3 more double crochets into the same chain. We'll go all the way around and complete our corner at the end. Skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and work a cluster of 3 double crochets into the 3rd chain. Skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and then a cluster of 3 doubles into the 3rd chain. Continue this all the way across until you have 3 remaining chains. Okay, and then once you reach the end, you should see 3 chains remaining. We're going to work our next corner and side in that very last chain. So add 3 doubles. Chain 2 for your first corner, 3 more doubles into the same chain, And then let's do our next corner. So chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets into the same chain. To complete that corner and side. So you should see 3 groupings of 3 double crochets with a chain 2 space to form your 2 corners. And now we're just going to go across, adding 3 double crochets into the same space of the previous doubles on the other side. Very, very easy. And then when you come to the very first corner, we need to complete it. So we're just doing 3 more doubles for our first cluster. And for our final chain 2 corner, I'm going to replace it with a half double crochet because that sets me right into the middle of the corner. So I'm going to go right into the very top of that first chain that was made with a half double crochet. So this has gone a little bit over 6 inches, the yarn stretched out, so you could possibly get away with 21 chains. I would rather go a little bit bigger than smaller with this, so I'm pretty happy with that. For round 2, I'm going to turn my work, but you don't have to. You can stay on the same side if you like. I like to turn after every round because it makes the blanket reversible. It looks the same on both sides. I also like to do this because it seems to keep the rectangle's shape a little bit better than when I stay on the same side. But again, this is a personal preference. I'm going to change colors. I like to change colors by removing the hook, going into the 3 bars here for the half double crochet stitch, pulling my new yarn through those loops, pulling on the old yarn, and now I'm ready for round 2. Chain 2 or 3 to serve as your first double crochet, or you can do a stacked single. That's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to go in, pull the yarn through, create a single crochet, and in the sidebar here, I'm going to pull the yarn through, yarn over, pull through the 2 loops to create another single crochet. This is going to give the appearance of a double crochet. And now we're going to form half of our first corner here. Let's add another 2 double crochets. We're going to skip all the way across the previous cluster and add 3 more doubles into that space. And just continue this all the way across, adding 3 double crochets into the space between the previous clusters. And we're back to a corner, so we're just going to skip over these clusters, going into the chain space with 3 doubles. Chain 2, 3 doubles. Skipping over to the next corner, cluster, chain 2, cluster. You're just going to continue across with the same sequence, a granny cluster stitch into the previous space from the previous round. We've arrived at our next corner, just going into that chain space with our corner sequence of 3 doubles, chain 2, 3 doubles. And then when you reach the first corner, we're going to complete it with 3 doubles. And instead of a chain 2, let's do a half double crochet into the very first stitch of the round. To get ourselves into the middle of that corner. And that's all there is to creating a rectangle. You're just going to repeat round 2. The only difference that you're going to see here is when you come to your sides, you do have a space in between your clusters, so you're going to continue on with adding a cluster in there. If you want to resize this, you know what to do. Use that easy formula from the beginning and you'll be all set. I really do hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, a like is always appreciated. If you'd like to see other rectangle patterns, I'll go ahead and pop them here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.